Okay. I'm often asked to explain cybersecurity, and how is cybersecurity different than just normal security? There's not that much of a difference. I'm standing here in Normandy, France, using the backdrop of the Chateau Gaillard, or sometimes called the Chateau Gaillard, one of the more formidable medieval fortresses. It was built in the 1100s, and more importantly, it was one of the forts in the Normandy, France. It's a beautiful day here. It overlooked the River Seine. If you look way past over there through the trees, we would see the River Seine. And Normandy has been invaded by pretty much every European country, especially Great Britain. And at the time, at the turn of the 12th and 13th century, there was a famous siege. And basically, inside these ruins, now you have to imagine something. This is the only thing left of Chateau Gaillard, or Castle Gaillard. But can you imagine a castle the size of Kirtland, Ohio, that has stone walls and dry moats and more stone walls, literally meters thick, and doors made out of heavy oak? I mean, what we're seeing here is a beautiful remnant of what was left, what, 800-900 years ago. But anyways, let's talk about cybersecurity. Let's talk about security in general. When they used to build these massive forts, and again, this just doesn't do it justice, but when they used to build these massive forts, they had massive reinforcements, concrete, boulder walls, and dry moats. And people say, why would they have dry moats? Why don't they fill the moats with water? And they would say the moats were meant to be filled with the enemy dead, if you want to consider that poetic. But anyways, there was a famous siege, and at the time, you have to imagine that the British are controlling a major castle in France that's overlooking the River Seine, and the French are laying siege to that castle. And basically, siege warfare means that they know they cannot storm the walls. The walls are just too thick, so they're going to wait them out. But they can't wait out forever, because they're going to run out of food, they're going to run out of supplies, both the internal armies and the external armies. So the French came up with a plan. And this is how cybersecurity, or all security, works. The plan said, we know we can't storm these castle walls, right? We can't battery ram these castle walls. Same thing with cybersecurity. All those wonderful things we do with cybersecurity, firewalls, closing ports, making sure passwords are protected, etc. Those you have to imagine as these big giant walls that for the most part can't be broken through. So the French came up with a plan. And the plan was fairly straightforward. They would have teams of soldiers, individuals, do reconnaissance on these castle walls and find weaknesses, right? Look for vulnerabilities. Again, they're not going to go storming through the firewall. They're not going to be battering ramming these big oak doors. They are looking for weaknesses. Now, as the story goes, there was a soldier, and it's been documented many, many times. The soldier's name was Ralph. I guess it's a good French name. Ralph discovered something. What Ralph discovered after months of looking for a vulnerability, he found a waste chute, i.e. the toilet dump. And this waste chute, literally where the toilets overflow or leave the castle shell, did not have protection, right? Usually what they would do is they would put some kind of grate, some kind of bar, because these chutes would be anywhere between 1 meter to a little 1.5 meters to let all that waste, I'm using the polite word, waste leave the castle. Ralph found an open chute. He found a vulnerability. And that's what hackers do. That's what cybersecurity do. They're not going through the firewall too hard. They're not going to guess 10,000 passwords, thousands of passwords, too hard. They're going to look for that chute, that opening, that port that somebody left open. Now, as the story goes, Ralph and a company of men went up that chute. Now you can imagine, imagine Shawshank Redemption, where Andy Dufresne is crawling through the waste chute. That's exactly what Ralph did. Him and an elite group of soldiers. And once they broke into the Chateau, they started to light fires. And as they were lighting fires, the British who was inside there start putting out the fires and controlling the damage, and a battle within the castle occurred. So they're starting fires over on one side of the castle, and that's where they're sending arms and stuff like that, and they start. Ralph and his crew were able to then exploit those fires, and he opened the main gate, and through that main gate the French army came in. Cybersecurity is exactly that. All security is really that, whether it be 800-900-year-old castle security. Isn't that a beautiful sight? I want to personally thank Lakeland Community College for allowing me to come out to France, the fields of Normandy, France, and videotape this. But all security is like that. We put up these big walls, these big locks and things, and then they begin to look for vulnerabilities. We do the same thing in cybersecurity. Obviously, we have to build those walls. We have to reinforce the doors. We have to cyber lock important areas. And as we do that, we also then have to be very, very careful about those little things, those little vulnerabilities. Oh, here's some nice French peasants. Bonjour. And as we investigate and as you work towards your cybersecurity degree, think about that. Come back to this video and think about the Castle Chateau Gaillard, where they reinforced all these walls. They reinforced all these doors, but they basically left the toilet chute open. And Ralph and his men were able to crawl up that toilet chute, start fires, start diversions in certain areas. And once those diversions occurred, they were able to open the gates and bring in the British soldiers, and then that's how the siege eventually ended. And you can look that up. It's a very famous siege. And let's see the signpost here. I did not take French in high school. I took Spanish, so it might be a little bit hard for me to translate. So give me a second here while I see what the sign basically says. You can basically read that on your own. All right. Must be pretty interesting. I'll probably do a Google Translate or something to see what it has to say. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, thanks for everybody, and it's a beautiful day in Normandy, France.